Hello, it's Sarah with Read the Entire Bible in a Year. We are on day 57, reading Deuteronomy 8 through 10. I hope you are having a good day. It's fixing to get pretty windy around here. I did try to upload to the computer for the first time on the last video reading, and I tell you, it was such a difference. It took me a minute to figure it all out, and it didn't load up right away, so I was getting nervous. But it did, and it even used less gigabytes space in the computers. And this is a little fuzzy to me. You can see a lot more, like you can see me working on my fish tank today. Tanks, they gotta both get filled up. I got all kinds of water stacked up in the kitchen right now. But the main thing is finding the balance to get these cleaned up to make them look nice. I found all kinds of different buttons and stuff, but balance to make sure I spend an appropriate amount of time on it and be able to continue enjoying it and sharing. So today in our reading, it's talking about balance and appropriate thinking as well. One of the points in chapter 8 about balance was about the perspective. You know, the people could have looked at the Jehovah saying, I humbled you and allowed you to go hungry as like, oh, Jehovah made me be hungry and all that stuff. It was the situation that they were in and the trust that they required, yet he provided something that no earthly hand could do with that manna. What a blessing and continued reminder of his care for them. Also in chapter 9, balance again was shown. They could have gotten unbalanced looking at how they were overcoming all these peoples and lands around them and getting all this stuff and, you know, over putting themselves over these other people by taking over their countries, lands. Now, Jehovah was like, wait a minute, this isn't you. This is my decision. I'm not just taking land. He pointed out to them, I'm not just some bloodthirsty guy that wants his own stuff. There was a reason that he was doing this. He wanted them to remember who he was above all of this stuff that was going on, that he was in control of the pushing the people out of the land. And there was a reason for it, because think about it, realistically, if they forgot the reason for why he was pushing those people out of the land, then they may forget how much he cares about them, how much they can trust him, how truly balanced he is, how he knows what righteousness is. He knows what justice is. That's important to know about God, to build that relationship, to be able to trust God. Because if they started trusting in themselves, they forget who he is and how much they need to trust him, and they can trust him. He wanted them to understand those things. So that was really important. There's also more points, but I'm going to stop there. So let's go ahead and start reading chapter 8. You should be careful to observe every commandment that I am giving you today, so that you may continue living and multiply, and go in and take possession of the land about which Jehovah swore to your forefathers. Remember the long road that Jehovah your God made you walk these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble you and to put you to the test, so as to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or not. So he humbled you and let you go hungry and fed you with the manna, which neither you had known nor your fathers had known, in order to make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but man lives by every expression from Jehovah's mouth. The clothing you wore did not wear out, nor did your feet become swollen these 40 years. You well know in your heart that just as a man corrects his son, Jehovah your God was correcting you. Now you must keep the commandments of Jehovah your God by walking in his ways and by fearing him. For Jehovah your God is bringing you into a good land, a land of streams of water, springs and fountains flowing in the valley plain and in the mountainous region, a land of wheat and barley, of grapevines, fig trees, and pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey, a land where food will not be scarce, and you will lack nothing, a land where the stones contain iron, and from its mountains you will mine copper. When you have eaten and are satisfied, you must praise Jehovah your God for the good land that he has given you. Be careful not to forget your God by failing to keep his commandments, his judicial decisions, and his statutes that I am commanding you today. When you eat and are satisfied, and you build fine houses and dwell in them, when your herd and your flocks multiply, and your silver and gold increase, and you have an abundance of everything, do not let your heart become proud and cause you to forget Jehovah your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery, who caused you to walk through the great and fearsome wilderness with poisonous serpents and scorpions, and with parched ground that has no water. He made water flow out of the flinty rock and fed you with manna in the wilderness, which your fathers had not known, in order to humble you and to put you to the test, so as to benefit you in the future. If you should say in your heart, my own power and the strength of my own hand have produced this wealth for me, remember that it is Jehovah your God who gives power to you to have or to make wealth, in order to carry out his covenant that he has swore to your forefathers as it is today. If you should ever forget Jehovah your God, and you walk after other gods and serve them and bow down to them, I do bear witness against you today that you will surely perish. Like the nations that Jehovah is destroying before you, that is how you will perish, because you would not listen to the voice of Jehovah your God. Chapter 9. Hear, O Israel, today. You are crossing the Jordan to go in and dispossess nations greater and mightier than you, cities great and fortified to the heavens, a people great and tall, the sons of the Anakim, about whom you know and have heard it said, who can stand up to the sons of Anak? Therefore, you should know this day that Jehovah your God will cross ahead of you. He is a consuming fire, and he will annihilate them. He will subdue them before your eyes, so that you may quickly drive them out and destroy them, just as Jehovah has promised you. Do not say in your heart, when Jehovah your God drives them away from before you, it was because of my own righteousness that Jehovah has brought me in to take possession of this land. Rather, it is because of the wickedness of these nations that Jehovah is driving them away from before you. It is not because of your righteousness or the uprightness of your heart that you are going to take possession of their land. Instead, it is because of the wickedness of these nations that Jehovah your God is driving them away from before you, and in order to carry out the word that Jehovah swore to your forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Know then that it is not because of your righteousness that Jehovah your God is giving you this good land to take possession of, because you are an obstinate people. Remember, never forget the way you provoked Jehovah your God in the wilderness. From the day that you left the land of Egypt until your coming to this place, you have rebelled against Jehovah. Even in Horeb, you provoked Jehovah, and Jehovah was so angry with you that he was ready to annihilate you. When I went up to the mountain to receive the stone tablets, the tablets of the covenant that Jehovah made with you, I remained on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights, eating no food and drinking no water. Then Jehovah gave me the 2 tablets of stone written on with his finger, with God's finger, and on them were all the words that Jehovah had spoken to you on the mountain out of the fire in the day of the assembly. At the end of the 40 days and 40 nights, Jehovah gave me the 2 tablets of stone, the tablets of the covenant. And Jehovah told me, get up, go down quickly from here, because your people whom you brought out of Egypt have acted corruptly. They have quickly turned aside from the path I commanded them to follow. They have made a metal image for themselves. Jehovah then said to me, I have seen this people, and look, it is an obstinate people. Let me be, and I will annihilate them and wipe out their name from under the heavens. And let me make you a nation mightier and more numerous than they are. Then I turned and went down the mountain while the mountain was burning with fire, and the 2 tablets of the covenant were in both my hands. Then I looked and saw that you had sinned against Jehovah your God. You had made a metal calf for yourselves. You had turned aside quickly from the path Jehovah had commanded you to follow. So I took hold of the 2 tablets and threw them down with both my hands and shattered them before your eyes. Then I prostrated myself before Jehovah as at first. For 40 days and 40 nights, I neither ate food nor drank water because of all the sins that you had committed by your doing what was evil in Jehovah's eyes and offending him. For I was terrified because of Jehovah's great anger against you, and that he was ready to annihilate you. However, Jehovah listened to me that time also. Jehovah was so angry with Aaron that he was ready to annihilate him. But I made supplication for Aaron at that time also. Then I took the sinful thing that you made, the calf, and burned it up in the fire. I crushed it and ground it thoroughly until it was like fine dust, and I threw the dust into the stream that flows down from the mountain. Further, at Taberah, at Massa, and at Kibroth Hattaavah, you also provoked Jehovah to anger. When Jehovah sent you out of Kadesh Barnea and said, Go up and take possession of the land that I will certainly give you, you again rebelled against the order of Jehovah your God, and you did not exercise faith in him and did not obey him. You have rebelled against Jehovah ever since I have known you. So I kept prostrating myself before Jehovah 40 days and 40 nights. For I prostrated myself in this way because Jehovah said he would annihilate you. I began to make supplication to Jehovah and to say, O sovereign Lord Jehovah, do not bring your people to ruin. They are your personal possession, who you redeemed through your greatness and brought out of Egypt with a mighty hand. Remember your servants Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Do not pay attention to the stubbornness of this people, their wickedness, and their sin. Otherwise, the people of the land from which you brought us might say, Jehovah was unable to bring them into the land that he promised them, and because he hated them, he brought them out to put them to death in the wilderness. For they are your people and your personal possession, whom you brought out with your great power and your outstretched arm. Chapter 10. At that time, Jehovah said to me, Carve out for yourselves 2 tablets of stone like the first ones, and come up to me on the mountain. Also you must make for yourself an ark of wood, and I will write on the tablets the words that appeared on the first tablets, which you shattered, and you should place them in the ark. So I made an ark of acacia wood and carved out 2 tablets of stone like the first ones, and went up the mountain with the 2 tablets in my hand. Then he wrote on the tablets the words he had written before, the 10 commandments, which Jehovah had spoken to you on the mountain out of the fire on the day of the assembly. And Jehovah gave them to me. Then I turned and went down the mountain and placed the tablets in the ark that I had made where they remain, just as Jehovah had commanded me. The Israelites then departed from Beeroth Ben-Jakin for Mosera. There Aaron died and was buried, and his son Eleazar began to serve as priests in his place. From there they departed for Gudgoda, and from Gudgoda for Jotbatha, a land flowing with streams of water. At that time, Jehovah set apart the tribe of Levi to carry the ark of Jehovah's covenant, to stand before Jehovah in order to minister him and to bless in his name, as they do to this day. That is why Levi has no share or inheritance with his brothers. Jehovah is his inheritance. Just as Jehovah your God had said to him, I myself stayed on the mountain, as I did the first time, 40 days and 40 nights. And Jehovah listened to him. I'm sorry. It just doesn't sound right. Just a second. Okay, I'm sorry. So Moses was talking about Levi being separated by Jehovah. And then he started talking in verse 10 about himself. So it switched there. Sorry. So in verse 10, he says, I myself stayed on the mountain as I did the first time, 40 days and 40 nights. And Jehovah listened to me on that occasion also. Jehovah did not want to destroy you. Then Jehovah said to me, Go ahead of the people and prepare to depart, so that they may go in and take possession of the land that I have sworn to their forefathers to give to them. Now, O Israel, what is Jehovah your God asking of you? Only this, to fear Jehovah your God, to walk in all his ways, to love him, to serve Jehovah your God with all your heart and all your soul, and to keep the commandments and statutes of Jehovah that I'm commanding you today for your own good. Look to Jehovah your God. Belongs the heavens. Cannot talk today. Look, to Jehovah your God belong the heavens, even the heavens of the heavens, and the earth with all that is in it. But only to your forefathers did Jehovah draw close and express his love, and he has chosen you, their offspring, out of all the peoples, as you are today. You must now cleanse your hearts and stop being so stubborn. For Jehovah your God is the God of gods and the Lord of lords, the God great, mighty, and awe-inspiring, who treats none with partiality and does not accept a bribe. He executes justice for the fatherless child and the widow, and loves the foreign resident, giving him food and clothing. You too must love the foreign resident, for you became foreign residents in the land of Egypt. Jehovah your God you should fear, him you should serve, to him you should cling, and by his name you should swear. He is the one you are to praise. He is your God, who has done all these great and awe-inspiring things for you that your own eyes have seen. With 70 people your forefathers went down into Egypt, and now Jehovah your God has made you as numerous as the stars of the heaven. Sorry about getting mixed up in the reading there. I just get so into it sometimes. So in verse 15, it points out something very important that I guess could be considered a fact. There it says, chapter 10, verse 15, it says, Only to your forefathers did Jehovah draw close and express his love. Sometimes people will say that God is out there, but he doesn't have anything to do with people. He doesn't care about people. He's just an impersonal force. Maybe some will say he created us and that's it. Just left us here to figure things out ourselves. And later on, he's going to take us all somewhere else and we'll do that. There's a lot of different thoughts that people have about God. One of the things that Jehovah wanted us to know is that he draws close to those that he can express his love to. Do you want him to express his love to you? I know I do. I want him to express it to me and to you and to everybody else. So we can't force somebody to let us love them. We got to allow them. But Jehovah not only wants you to allow him, no, Jehovah does want you to allow him. I'm sorry, I'm getting my words all mixed up because it's so cool. The thought of it all. Jehovah is very interested in having us have a relationship with him. Don't think he doesn't. It doesn't matter what kind of thing you've done in your past. If you knew the kind of things I've done in my life, I tell you, I haven't always been a Christian. And I had a long way to go. But he has encouraged me and gently taught me and shown me that he wants to have a relationship with me, and that's pretty cool. So, draw close to Jehovah and allow him to express his love for you. But how do you draw close to Jehovah? The Bible answers that as well. And part of it is doing exactly what we're doing today, reading together. Because the more we learn about him, the more we can see who he is, how he is, and how that can be a part of our lives as well. Kind of cool. You guys have a great day, and hope I made that sense. Have a good day. Bye.